David Tracey is a journalist, an eco-urbanist, and a certified arborist who specializes in organic fruit trees and edible landscapes. He's a farmer and guerrilla gardener at heart, who has lots of inspirational advice to green up our cities and turn our yards and balconies into beautiful mini farms filled with flowers, beets, greens, and herb pots. Plenty, I'm sure. It is my pleasure to welcome David Tracey to Studio 4, back to Studio 4 to tell us more. Nice to see you again.
Great to be here, and I love the set, by the way. It's changed a bit since I was here last time.
Oh, were you in the dog studio?
I was somewhere, but I couldn't see out so well, so now I can actually see them steal
We
my
refer to
bike
it
as they take
fondly
it.
as the dog studio.
Oh.
Yes, these digs are much spiffier, aren't they?
It's very nice, elegant.
Elegant. Now, back to this new food revolution in the city. Where to start? How to start?
Well, in the book, I start people at the smallest scale, and I move up in scale with each chapter. So the smallest scale is the nearest farm you'll ever know, which is your kitchen windowsill. So if you just have a few pots and you drop in a few seeds of herbs, maybe something that you like to cut and cook in a stew or soup or salad or whatever right there.
Sure.
You're joining the new food revolution, and you're one of the 800 million urban farmers of the world.
800 million.
And
now,
growing.
And growing. Is there a secret to growing basil or basil, rosemary indoors? Or a little herb pot indoors in a high-rise?
Yes, live in a sunny location.
Right,
That's
that
about
too.
the only one you really need. Plants don't know they're in the containers, so you can fool them. You just have to provide what they really need, which is sun, adequate water, a little nourishment, and they'll do the rest.
All of the above. Well, growing veg on your balcony, how great is that?
Oh, yeah.
Go out and pick a little lettuce.
Well, it also helps because sometimes when we grow a little farther away, we get a little reluctant sometimes to go tend our farms, and the weeds are there. We know we got to do it, but I really don't want to go today. But when it's right there out on your balcony staring you in the face, you will go out and do it every day.
Sure. In a perfect David Tracey world in the green city, on the rooftops, what would you see? Well, we have a green roof over here, as you know.
Yeah.
There are a few in the city.
I would see an edible city. So you would see food in all aspects of the city. It would be part of the environment. You would have farmers as part of your social circle. The people that are growing your food would be the people you know and run into the same way you run into anyone else in your normal daily walks of life.
Well, it makes sense because what else is going on the rooftops?
Yeah,
really?
Yeah, it's a bit, I like the green roofs. It's a great trend we're on to right now, but as someone once put it, we're still in the stage now where we're building the ship at sea. So we're still trying to figure out exactly how to do these green roofs. Well, we have to do them. We know that. It's a great idea. Why not use all of that massive percentage of space? But I just wish that it was less of an engineer-driven trend and more of a designer, people-driven trend, which would say we don't really care about sedums. Sedums are those succulents that you can turn a roof green, but they don't really do a whole lot else for you. Why not use those roofs as gardens, farms, recreational places, beautiful places, parks that the city would enjoy?
Rather than just grass that takes water and all of that, what about cabbage and what grows best in the air? Fruit, vegetable-wise?
It depends on the care you put into it. So you can grow anything. You just have to realize it's a different micro environment you're working on there. It's hotter, it's harsher, it's drier because of the wind. All of those things can be good if you're growing a Mediterranean type of plant, which we all know about the Mediterranean diet now and how that's going to keep us alive longer. So why not give it a try? You can't get away with that. But you just have to be conscious of where you are, where the plant is, and provide what that plant needs.
I was teasing earlier when I called you Johnny Appleseed, but I suspect rather than a vacant lot on some ugly corner in the city, why not have an apple orchard or a bunch of pear trees?
Oh, I'm all for the community orchards. We're just starting to see them come on now. And for me, it's one great solution for a wider range of people than, say, the community garden. Because growing vegetables is a lot of work. You still have to get down and dig out the weeds and till the soil. And, you know, there's a bit of a grunt effort involved in there. Whereas an orchard, once it's planted, it's a bit more of a puttering around kind of activity, which is great for different people of varying levels of physical ability.
Sure. Have you thought about how you would distribute the apples or the figs? Do you know what I mean? It's great to have a city orchard or a community plot, but who gets the apples, who gets the figs, or is it a free-for-all? Does it go to the homeless shelters? What?
Actually, it can be all of the above, and that's what ends up happening. I'm in a community orchard. We have more than 300 kinds of fruit trees.
Really?
Yeah.
300 kinds of fruit trees in Vancouver?
In Vancouver, in Strathcona, the oldest community garden in the city.
Yes.
We have over an acre of the orchard part alone. We also grow a lot of trees in the espalier system, which is a way to grow a lot of varieties of fruit in a small area, such as a portion of a backyard.
Now tell me about espalier, how that works.
Espalier is a way to plant much more closer than the normal fruit tree used to be planted. Used to be you'd plant an apple tree, say, and it would be a big spreading apple tree, and you could hold the square dance under it and put a porch swing and you know, everything around it under that single apple tree. Now nobody grows that way. We all grow on dwarfing rootstock, and that brings down the size of the tree itself. It doesn't bring down the size of the fruit. So same size fruit, but it's much smaller. With an espalier system, where you can grow it just to the height of a shoulder, or if you want to reach up, a head height, and you can put them even 2 feet apart on center. So in the space of a small, you know, 1/4 of a backyard, you can grow 8, 10, 12 different kinds of trees.
I didn't know, and fruit the same. So
fruit the same size.
Being an arborist, what are the tricks to that?
Oh, you just get the right stock. That's the dwarf rootstocks are the only type you can buy now in the trade, so they're everywhere.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Obviously don't have any of those.
We'll get you some.
Okay,
we'll try them.
Now soil is the secret, as you know.
Healthy soil, healthy plants, healthy food. Yeah.
What is healthy soil?
Organic soil.
Organic soil, that's a start.
When I'm teaching people workshops on how to get started in that, I always teach them organic is the way to go. You can go with synthetics, of course. It's the way the industrial agriculture system has gone in the last century, and that's a big part of the problem.
Okay, so what if you have organic soil and you've done it all right?
Yeah.
And your neighbor is Mr. Spray Pants. Like, do you know what I mean? The neighbor has the lawn on drugs, the perfect lawn. Drugs everywhere.
You know the guy I wish I could have taken the picture of? I have a mental picture, and that's all. But it was one of the yards that's filled with gravel. You know, they just take out everything, screw it.
Yes.
I'm getting the plants the gravel.
Yes.
There was one dandelion in the middle of this gravel, had the temerity to grow. And he was out there with a bottle of Roundup.
I bet.
Over it, like, I'll get you. I know that neighbor.
Well,
so what do you do with that neighbor?
People who are compulsive about weeds.
Weed in this case, a single weed. Yeah, what do you do about that neighbor? It's education. It's a long-term struggle we're onto here. Many more people are onto it now than they were 5 years ago. 5 years from now, many, many more people are going to be onto it. That's why I call it the new food revolution.
And urban agriculture, because, you know, many of the parks are onto it now. Some of the city parks are onto it now. They don't want our kids and our dogs playing in the pesticides, so they've decided to have it not as perfect, a little more wild,
and
but
more
not
beautiful
with
to some.
Chemicals.
To me, more beautiful for one, because it more reflects the actual bioregion we're living in. It reflects the seasons more. I don't mind seeing a flower fade and die and see what comes next, because to me that's nature.
Sure,
and,
and get your lawn off drugs. I think somebody wrote that book. You know,
and get off your lawn.
And get
you
off
don't need
your
the lawn at all.
Oh, I guess that's true.
You can grow food.
It's kind of fun, but you could grow food, and we may have to one day is the point. So learn how now. Are you an elevated bed guy for veg?
Yeah, raised beds are great because they will warm up the soil so you can extend your planting season. Now it's still cold out here, even though it's supposed to be warm. But if you have a raised bed, the soil will be warmer, so you can get away with earlier crops. It's also a lot less bending, which is a nice thing for people who get that gardener's back.
And they look great. But now there's a thing called companion planting, I know, but there's also on the farm, my granddad grew beautiful flowers and corn and all the veg. It was all in together, in a sense, like the...
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good thing to do or not. You know, you
That
have
is
the onions
exactly a good
next.
thing to do because it's a diverse selection of crops you do. That's another mistake we made in the last century when agribusiness took over agriculture,
Right.
and they went to the monocrop method. And that turns out to be good for one-time harvest of something that they can make a profit with.
Right.
Not good for the planet, not actually good for the plant itself because they're really quite weak. One pathogen can come in and destroy that whole crop. So what do you got to do? You've got to lace it with herbicides and pesticides and artificially prop up that single crop. Whereas
Right.
if you have a diverse crop system and you rotate your crops, which is what all organic farmers do, you don't have to go that artificial route, you go natural.
Sure, it's what my granddad did. He rotated crops and he saved seeds.
And well, how'd they taste, your granddad's crops, by the way?
Like nothing you'll taste today.
Like food.
Pretty much. Like food.
yeah.
Really good food. And they were, he was proud of his corn. Do you know what I mean? And
we're all proud of our corn.
I
Anything you grow,
I
it's
don't
the
mean that he was
tastiest.
a
That's
simple
one
man,
thing.
but he was proud of his corn, and
Yeah.
people in the county wanted his seeds.
Yeah. Oh, seeds are...
Big.
Yeah. I mean, seeds are everything in one sense. If you control the seeds, you control agriculture, you control food, you control the planet. And that's why it's so
Right.
scary right now that one of the world's biggest chemical companies has become the world's biggest seed company.
It's true.
Starts with an M.
It starts
I'm
with an
going
M.
to say it. It's
Go
Monsanto.
ahead. It's Monsanto.
Yeah.
But there's many reasons to plant crops and cover crops and all of that. And in essence, they're really beautiful. And it just makes sense. You know, onions alone. I love onions and garlic, the big plumy flowers. And
Yeah. That's another thing I'm trying to do with the book is get people to understand that food is beautiful in all its stages. It's not just when it gets on your plate and is carefully adorned
Right.
to look like a gourmet
And
meal.
as you suggest in here, well, I know this as a fact, anybody can grow a zucchini. Anybody.
And share it.
And share it. And we do.
Yeah.
Yes, carrots are a little tougher. The perfect carrot, little tougher.
Well, soil, if you have a nice, more loose sort of soil, you can get better luck
Is
with
that
your
what it
carrots,
is? They're
probably.
not so crooked and
Yeah.
don't have a lot of friends.
Yeah.
Oh, nice to see you again.
Great seeing you again, too. Thanks
Thank
very much
you.
for having me.
David Tracey, his new book, Urban Agriculture, Ideas and Designs for the New Food Revolution.